This week, we got more on the Microsoft Activision story, a potential change coming to all handhelds, and more. So let's just go ahead, together, as a people, and take it out! And welcome to another sensational Sunday. I'm Mike, and I'm here to swap gaming news stories with you. And you know what else would be nice to swap? Batteries in our handhelds. When I think about the Steam Deck, the battery life would definitely be a lot more usable if you could just swap another battery when it dies. Plus, then you wouldn't have to deal with repairs in the future where you have to fight through layers of glue to get the battery out. Well, the EU agrees because a new regulation that's being put in place could change the way that batteries and handhelds work in the future. Starting in 2027, in the EU, consoles and gaming PCs that are made that year and the years after will have to have user replaceable batteries. Now, that doesn't mean that they have to be like the old school laptop batteries that you can just swap out, but they have to be readily replaceable by the user using standard tools. So even if the battery is behind like a backplate or something like that, it needs to be removable with standard screw bits that are available to everyone, not these weird proprietary ones that companies sometimes use Nintendo. And since this isn't going in place until 2027, Nintendo's next system isn't likely to be affected at this point, as the GameSpot article points out, but it could affect future handhelds like the GPD Win, the Steam Deck, and the ROG Ally. I know Valve with the Steam Deck has had a focus on repairability, but the battery in the deck is really hard to remove, so it would be great if they could improve that in a future revision. Theoretically, companies could do like an EU-specific version of the device, but that would cost more money to manufacture specific hardware for one region, so it's more likely that they would just change the design worldwide to accommodate this. I know I've been primarily talking about handhelds in the story, but this also includes gaming laptops too, so it'll be great to see this change in the gaming PC and the console market, and hopefully it gives these devices more longevity. But you know whose longevity is done? Xbox Live Gold, because it's officially going away. So on September 14th, Xbox Live Gold is officially gone. It's being replaced by Game Pass Core, which is basically the same thing. It gets you the ability to play games online. The pricing stays the same as well, which is $60 for a year or $10 a month. The major change in the service are the free games. Instead of getting monthly games, subscribers will get access to a library of over 25 games, which is not as much as what's on the higher tiers of Game Pass, but the point is obviously to get people into the Game Pass ecosystem and then hope that they upgrade to one of the higher tiers. Now, if you claim any of the free games with gold, you'll still have access to them as long as you're subscribed to the service. Also, any 360 games that you've claimed, you'll just have access to them regardless, even if you're no longer subscribed. And everyone who's currently a gold member will automatically roll over to the new plan starting September 1st. So from the standpoint of what's being offered, it's not that different other than games for gold going away, which the games on there have been kind of bad for a while, to the point where I didn't even bother to claim the games most of the time. For what's laid out in this Engadget article, it sounds like new games are going to be added to that tier maybe 2 to 3 times a year. But having access to a pool of games is probably going to be better than what was being offered on Games for Gold, especially for new subscribers. For me personally, it does feel like the end of an era. I mean, I've been on Game Pass Ultimate for like the last 2 or 3 years, but I still started on Xbox Live Gold back in 2004 when I signed up to play Halo 2 on the original Xbox. So it's going to be weird to not have anything called Xbox Live Gold at all. But the change makes sense. Game Pass is a service they're focused on now, and Xbox Live as a brand doesn't really make sense anymore. Either way, RIP Xbox Live Gold. And you know what else is being RIP'd? The Dolphin emulator on Steam. So we talked about this story a couple months ago. The Dolphin emulator is an emulator for Wii and GameCube games that's been around for a while. It was supposed to come to Steam, which would have been cool for Steam Deck users. It would have made it easier to add that emulator. But Nintendo issued a legal warning after Valve reached out to them about the emulator coming to the store. Now, the big thing with Dolphin that they do that a lot of other emulators don't is they offer a decryption key from one of the systems, specifically the Wii, in order to decrypt games. Now, typically with most emulators, the users have to provide those decryption keys themselves because it's code from the system which was created by the console manufacturer. So with their Steam release, the Dolphin team at the time postponed it after Nintendo sent the legal threat, but now they've come out and officially said that the Steam version, it ain't coming. They did clarify that they spoke on a legal console and they don't believe that they're violating the law by including the Wii decryption key, so it'll still be in the emulator, it just won't be offered on Steam. It's probably not worth it in their eyes to go through a legal battle with Nintendo, even if they don't believe they're doing anything wrong. So if anyone was holding out hope for Dolphin to be on Steam, it looks like it ain't gonna happen. Capping. But you know what might actually happen eventually? Microsoft acquiring Activision. And that's what we're talking about in our final story. So last week we left off on the cliffhanger. Was Microsoft going to own Activision by July 18th or not? Well, it didn't happen. So they've decided to extend the deadline to October 18th so they can go through the appeal process with the CMA in the UK. With the extension to the deal, it does raise the fee that Microsoft will have to pay if the deal falls through. So if the deal does not close by August 29th, they'll owe $3.5 billion, and it increases to $4.5 billion if it's not closed by September 15th. The fee is only if the deal falls through somehow. With the original deal, it was $3 billion that they could have been forced to pay if Activision didn't agree to this extension. Now, when it comes to the CMA, Microsoft basically has to make a proposal to resolve their concerns around cloud gaming. The CMA then has until the end of August to decide if they accept the proposal or if they'll keep the deal blocked in the UK. Technically, they can still close the deal without the CMA's approval. They just wouldn't be allowed to operate in the UK as a company. Either way, we should find out by the end of next month if the CMA changes their mind and they're able to get approval in the UK. There is someone that's already changed their mind though, and that's Sony. Sony have been offered a contract to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation for 10 more years like they offered Nintendo and other companies, but they refused the deal because they said basically it wasn't a good enough of a guarantee for them. Well, what had happened was, after the FTC defeat and most of the other regulators approved the deal, well, Sony, they folded like a Walmart lawn chair. So Sony has officially signed a deal with Microsoft to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation for 10 more years. I feel Microsoft offered these deals to show regulators that they were not planning to make it an exclusive game, but they basically said that they would have kept Call of Duty on PlayStation either way. Even if Sony didn't sign the deal, obviously Sony was hoping to block the deal in the US, but now that that's pretty much failed, I guess they figure they might as well just sign a deal at this point. But that's pretty much it for now. We just have to wait for the CMA's decision and then see what happens after that. So like I did previously, I'm not going to cover every story that comes out about this. There's a lot of smaller stories that come out, but I'll report back when we have some major updates. Oh wait, I'm getting a major update now. It's time for me to bring this video to a close and get out of here for the day. Well, I guess let me know what you think down below about Xbox Live Gold going away. Do you think Game Pass Core will be a better service? Again, let me know down below. And if you enjoyed this video, then make sure to tell a friend, tell a coworker, like, share, and subscribe, and hit that bell notification to be notified when I drop a video or a live stream. I always do at least 2 things at the same time. Peace.